Hello students, welcome to the lecture on conducting meetings and conferences, and after the lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Explain meetings, their meaning and importance, discuss the purposes of meeting, describe conducting meetings, understand how to attend meeting, and define the advantages and disadvantages of meeting and committees. Let's start with a brief introduction to conducting meetings and conferences. Meetings are a primary process for organizational life. In fact, for many people, attending meetings is what they do during most of the time they spend in the organizational setting. So, it is essential that time spent in meetings be productive if we have to achieve effective individual and organizational performance. This has been developed to help us think carefully about the meetings we attend and perhaps lead. Some different types of meetings that organization leaders put together include quick business meetings, just to check in, coordinate, share info, prepare for next steps, anticipate customer or employee needs, answer questions for each other, etc. Stand-up meetings, no more than 10 minutes to plan the day, make announcements, set expectations, assure understanding and alignment, identify upcoming difficulties, etc. Business meetings with customers, clients, colleagues, etc. often require presentations. Staff meetings to clear calendars, coordinate unit activities, share info, etc. Management team meetings to solve problems, make decisions, set policy, etc. Interdepartmental meetings to get input, interpret decisions and policies, share info, etc. Coordinating meetings to assure all know what is happening, when and who is responsible. Board meetings to report results, set policies and directions, scan for needed changes, etc. Team building meetings to communicate together, resolve conflicts, share impressions and feelings, gain alignment and commitment to goals, strengthen relationships, clear out debris from disputes, develop or deepen interpersonal trust, etc. Project team meetings to define results, methods, schedules, responsibilities, policies, etc. Creative product development meetings to define new markets, create new products, etc. Community meetings to interpret decisions, get input, build relationships, gain trust, etc. Conferences and retreats to share information, work through strategies and tactics, involve people, set long-range directions, work in subgroups as well as in total groups, etc. When planning different types of meetings, the three key questions must be clarified. Who will participate? What purpose will they and we want to have achieved when the meeting is over? And what do we want to happen after the meeting that will be helped by having the meeting?
Meet Lucy. 5 days ago, she had to make a choice. Keep her flip chart or try a smartboard interactive whiteboard. Lucy chose to stay with her flip chart. She's been comfortable using it for a long time now. Meet Randall. He's decided to retire his markers and paper. He's been using a smartboard for the past 5 days. Randall's out in the hallway right now, talking to anyone who will listen. Both Randall and Lucy face a challenge. Assemble their teams and define 5 strategies to end the sales slump in each of their regions by the end of day today. Lucy's meeting doesn't start for another half hour, but she knows exactly how much time it takes to get organized. She had to photocopy industry trends reports, sales data, and the VP's presentation. At 1 o'clock sharp, the brainstorming begins. Just as they're getting started, someone asks about an idea from last week's meeting. Lucy knows it's just a matter of time before she finds it. Then she can get back to defining the first sales strategy. Randall's 1 o'clock meeting started right on time too. He arrived 2 minutes early with plenty of time to start up his smartboard. As the team brainstorms, Randall pulls up several resources to keep the discussion on track. The team's ideas start to roll in, and Randall begins making notes, writing in digital ink over his documents. At 5 o'clock, Randall captures the 5 strategies and emails them to his director. Then he saves them to his USB key right on the spot. Now he's ready for dinner at his favorite restaurant. Lucy knows she's in for a special dinner too. But first, she books a follow-up meeting to finish defining the sales strategies. Then she figures out how she'll explain the delay to her director. Now Lucy can settle into the boardroom and begin transcribing meeting notes. By the time she gets to page 10, she's trying to remember what Randall said about his amazing smartboard.
Let's now talk about the meaning and the importance of meeting. Formal or informal deliberative assembly of individuals called to debate certain issues and problems and to take decisions. Formal meetings are held at definite times at a definite place and usually for a definite duration to follow an agreed upon agenda. In a corporate setting, they are divided into two main groups: organizational meeting, normally a regular meeting involving stockholders, shareholders, and management, such as a board meeting and annual general meeting, AGM. Operational meeting is a regular or an ad hoc meeting involving management and employees, such as a committee meeting which plans and a planning meeting and sales meeting. A meeting is typically headed by a chairperson and its deliberations are recorded in a written form called minutes. Importance: formulating a set of objectives in the meeting preparation is the first and the most important step because having a purpose of goal for the meeting will keep the participants focused on what they need to accomplish in that session. The objectives have to be realistic and measurable to become achievable.
Hello, I'm Brian Tracy. Meetings are an essential part of the life of every organization, and your ability to run effective meetings with your management skills is a critical part of your success in meeting management. As a leader, there are a series of things I recommend that you keep in the back of your mind. One of the most important tasks you need to do to improve your management skills and hold more effective meetings is to begin with an outline of the purpose of the meeting in the first place. When everyone sits down for the meeting, you say, "We're holding this meeting today to accomplish these goals and objectives." The opening 5 to 7 minutes in any meeting is the most important component to conducting more effective meetings. It sets the foundation, it establishes the parameters, it organizes the terms of reference, and it tells everybody in the room why they are there, for how long, and what they need to accomplish. I also recommend that you write out your introduction word for word and read it out. This clarity will allow a person who doesn't know you or the situation coming in to get right up to speed at the start. And by the way, if you can't write out a brief description of the purpose of the meeting, it means perhaps you don't know what it is. Improve your management skills during a meeting by being both specific and punctual with the timing. Be sure to announce the duration of the meeting in advance. This should also be printed at the top of your agenda, but you want to restate it in your introduction. Begin right on time. Don't penalize the people who are not there on time by waiting for others who are late. The rule is assume that the latecomer is not coming at all and get right on with the meeting. This helped me so much when I first learned this. If someone comes in late and finds out they've missed important information, refuse to start over for them. They will eventually get the message and they'll be more punctual and they'll help you improve your management skills in a respectable manner.
Let's now discuss about the purpose of these meetings. Members of a company discuss organizational issues and other agenda through a personal gathering or through a conference call. A meeting is a routine activity in an organization. It is even part of the weekly itinerary of many working individuals and business people. Meetings can be formal or informal, but for the most part, organizational meetings usually take a formal setting where preparation must be done to properly plan and execute the meeting. Meeting categories by structure. Meetings can be classified into many different categories according to its nature and structure. A meeting that is leader-led and is done through a one-way communication reporting is called a status meeting. A conference that generates an intangible or an abstract result, such as a decision, is termed as a work meeting. A staff meeting is that which the team members or the junior employees discuss certain agenda with the manager or the immediate superior. The types of meetings according to the purpose. Meetings can also be categorized according to its purpose or its intention. Meeting participants who aim to alter a situation or attack an organizational problem and concern take on a problem-solving meeting. Decision-making meetings are conducted to generate or make a final and unanimous decision about an issue. If certain structuring and future resolutions need to be made, a planning meeting can be called. When there is a need to make status reports and present new information, participants gather for a feed-forward meeting. Meeting objectives. Formulating a set of objectives in the meeting preparation is the first and the most important step, because having a purpose of goal for the meeting, which will keep the participants focused on what they need to accomplish in that session. The objectives have to be very realistic and measurable to become achievable. Did you know? On Sunday, 31st May 1807, the first camp meeting, phenomenon of American frontier Christianity, was held in England at Mauve Coop. Conducting meetings. Meetings for the most part are plain talks and discussions. We cannot expect fun and perks in a meeting. Instead, the atmosphere is one that is very serious. If a meeting is not properly facilitated, it can become pointless and ineffective. Meeting facilitators have to make sure that it turns out to be insightful and effective by knowing the methods in running a session. Making the necessary preparations. We say that meetings are plain talks. So more or less, the whole interaction and exchange of ideas is spontaneous. But the process is not impromptu. It should follow an outline or a structure. Apart from that, goal setting is not done instantly. Objectives must be well thought of and realistic. So two very crucial aspects in the meeting preparation are identifying the objectives and planning the meeting agenda. When these are well planned, the facilitator will be able to conduct meetings successfully. Performing the facilitator's role effectively. The facilitator can be someone who is assigned to take charge of the meeting, or can be the one calling for the meeting. This is a crucial role in the success of a meeting, so the leader must also perform the role effectively. The agenda will serve as a guide for the facilitator in order for it to go well and smoothly. Since time is of the essence, the person in charge must make sure to start and end the meeting on time. A lengthy discussion that leads to nowhere is just a waste of time for the participants. The facilitator must supervise the traffic and the exchange of ideas. Discussion must be within control to avoid conflicts. Evaluation and follow-up. Wrapping up the session is an important aspect of a meeting. Before bringing it to a close, make sure that the key points of the discussion are summarized and the task or the action plans assigned to the participants are clearly given. If feasible, let the attendees assess the meeting either through written evaluation or discussion approach. This is a way to identify the strong and the weak points of the meeting process and the things that can be done better in the future sessions.
And complete as the discussion unfolds. Agenda items are listed at the beginning of each row and then are followed by the desired outcome, the decision-making process that will be used, materials needed, and time allotted for each item. Besides being an essential tool for structuring the meeting, the roadmap provides a visual representation of the discussion for everyone on the committee. On the back of the roadmap is an area to chart action items. This is essentially a to-do list that comes out of your discussion and will help turn your committee's ideas into achievements.
Another key ingredient to running an effective meeting is making sure that you have people assigned to and performing three critical roles: the facilitator, the timekeeper, and the recorder.
Let's hear a little bit from our friends on the committee about what each of these positions entails.
I'm the facilitator. My job is to manage the agenda and the conversation. I use the roadmap throughout the meeting to keep us on track and focused. If we find ourselves off on a tangent, I'll suggest that we park that issue and come back to it later. Periodically, I summarize the discussion to make sure we're all on the same page. When the allotted time for an agenda item has been reached, I'll encourage the group to bring the discussion to a close and either come to a decision or return to the item at our next meeting. I also help the recorder capture key ideas and action items. Since part of my role is managing conversational traffic, I try to pose questions for the group to answer and make sure that no one is talking too much or too little. If certain members are dominating the discussion, I'll conduct a brainstorming go-around where I ask each person to contribute their ideas and point of view. If things get heated in a debate, I'll remind people of the ground rules we've all agreed on. One thing that's a challenge when playing my role is distinguishing when I'm acting as facilitator and when I'm contributing as a committee member. I make a consistent effort to be clear about this so that I don't give my own feelings on an issue unfair emphasis. In fact, if there's a topic I feel particularly strong about, I'll let someone else try their hand at facilitating so that I can participate fully in the dialogue.
I'm the timekeeper. My primary duty is to keep track of the time according to the limits specified in the roadmap. I don't just wait till the end and announce time's up, and then we'd never have a chance to reach closure. Instead, I give regular updates to the group so they know how much time has been spent and is remaining on any particular agenda item. My job is important because it keeps us on track, ensures that we don't get derailed talking about one topic for too long, and that every agenda item gets the proper attention it deserves.
I'm the recorder. I'm there to capture the committee's ideas, decisions, and action items in writing. It's important to get things on record, so if I'm having trouble keeping up, I have the power to stop the conversation, to clarify what's being said, to catch up on my notes. There are many different ways to record information at a meeting, by hand, on a laptop, or even using a flip chart to display ideas to the group. I choose the method that makes the most sense in a given situation. What do I write down? Well, the agenda items on the roadmap serve as my main headings. Under those, I list key discussion points for each issue and record the decision that's ultimately made. I'm not really catching every little thing someone says, just key points in the discussion. I don't identify discussion points by speaker because it's more important to capture what is said than who said what. After a decision is made on a topic, I use the chart on the back of the roadmap to track action items as they're agreed upon. Here, it is important to name names. I note the responsible party and the deadline for completion. Also, at the end of an agenda item discussion, I'll recap my notes to check that I captured everything correctly. After the meeting, I circulate the notes I've taken as quickly as possible so that all committee members can have a record of our discussions.
Any of your LMC members can play any of those roles at a meeting.
In fact, it's encouraged to change things up so you could give all your members on both sides the chance to try out each role.
The variety will keep your meetings fresh and maximize participation.
So, we've talked about a number of key ingredients to running effective meetings: posting ground rules, using the roadmap, and making sure you have a facilitator, timekeeper, and recorder.
Now, our friends on the committee are going to help demonstrate some of these best practices in action. In this scenario, we'll be functioning as a Level 3 strategic committee, so this should be fun.
I'd like to thank everyone for being here today, and most of you know this already, but since Casey's still relatively new, I'd like to remind us all that our agreed upon ground rules are posted on the wall over here. And while the enthusiasm of last meeting was great, let's try to remember the listen before we speak rule. Okay, so you have your roadmaps. And you'll notice that the first item on our agenda is to continue the discussion that we started last time on training. Jordan, would you give us a summary on what we've discussed so far?
Sure. We were challenged by the executive level to think about how to provide continuing development for supervisors. Through our focus group, we identified content areas our managers feel they could most benefit from. These included communication skills, managing performance, and workload prioritization. Today, we need to follow through with our action item that we set up in our last meeting. Chris was going to report back today about pursuing an outside agency that could provide the training.
And then we had 15 minutes to come up with the best format for delivery.
Great. So, Chris, were you able to investigate whether SkillSource had the curriculum offerings we were looking for?
Yes, and the answer is yes, they do. I looked at the budget and they're well within allocated range. And since it's the training company of choice, I think it's a no-brainer.
Excellent.
How long is each of these courses?
2 hours each.
Okay, so if we decide to move forward with this curriculum, the question then becomes, what is the best way for us to deliver? Should we offer them one at a time, or say a whole day of training to attend all three?
Well, from a director level perspective, that's really difficult to release my people for a whole entire day.
It's really hard to go to training for just a few hours and then be expected to retain any of it when you have to go right back to work.
In that sense, I do agree. I think it might be best to separate supervisors from the workplace so they can really focus on skills development.
Plus, I can see that improving morale, especially if you bring them someplace cool.
That's true. I mean, there's no reason we couldn't do the training someplace fun. Make it something people want to do, like have training on a boat.
Or on the beach.
Or a theme park.
Okay. I love the enthusiasm, but let's take this one step at a time.
Yeah, let me catch up. Are we saying that we're in agreement that the training should take place off-site?
Yeah, I guess I can see the benefits.
Okay, so it sounds like we're agreed. It is the best way for them to focus, retain information, and will improve morale. So now we can tackle how to conduct the training. Devin, how much time do we have left?
10 minutes.
So let's take 5 minutes to do a quick brainstorming go-around and come up with some places that we can conduct the training off-site. And then we'll still have 5 minutes to decide and plan next steps.
Wow. Leaves you wanting to see more, right?
I'd go to that meeting. The ground rules were posted, the roadmap agenda was utilized, and we saw people taking on the key responsibilities of facilitator, timekeeper, and recorder.
That's right. This committee is making very effective use of its time and maximizing input from its members. And because they're running so effectively, they're able to spend time on fun, strategic issues like this one.
And you know what? Your committee can get here too. Follow the best practices outlined in this module, and soon your LMC will be operating like a well-oiled machine.
Let's now discuss about attending meeting. We may have noticed that every company and organization, they conduct meetings regularly. These sessions are deemed important because it is through these gatherings that essential organizational issues and many predetermined topics are brought up to the table and discussed by every participant involved. Meeting facilitator or chairperson. The meeting facilitator plays a neutral role in the session and ideally does not join in discussions and contribute ideas to the group. The main task of the facilitator or the chairperson is to assist the group in generating a role which includes preventing conflicts to arise during discussions, supplying methods and procedures in discussing an agenda, and making sure that each member takes an active participation in the session. Meeting members. These individuals are the active participants during a meeting. They are the ones called for to attend a meeting. The attendees of a certain type of meeting are selected individuals and are called for by invitation. They join a meeting in response to a meeting request sent out by the facilitator or the meeting organizer. Minute taker. The minute taker is otherwise known as the note taker or the recorder. This person takes a neutral stance just like the facilitator. The minute taker does not get involved in agenda evaluation, decision-making process, and interaction among meeting members. Now let's explore the advantages and the disadvantages of meeting. The advantages of meetings. A face-to-face discussion of organizational topics and issues can be conducted in various methods. In this modern day and age, individuals conveniently communicate through emailing and conference calls, which limit the ability of people to express ideas only through the power of words. However, traditional meetings allow individuals to facilitate discussion and interaction in a face-to-face manner, allowing the participants to express their opinions freely with the help of non-verbal communication. Body language and physical gestures, which are not possible through emailing and phone calls, play vital roles in meetings. Most of us find it easy expressing ideas along with these gestures. This is one of the many advantages of having a meeting. Meeting builds good working relationship. A meeting is a gathering of individuals with diverse opinions which are ready to be shared and discussed. Meeting participants may or may not have similar interests and personalities, but individuals are bonded together in a meeting. Meetings enhance team building. While work in an office where people are so busy they barely find time to get together to catch up with each other, holding meetings can be considered a team building or a socialization activity. Despite its serious atmosphere in nature, meetings can be turned into a fun gathering among individuals. One way of doing is to find a venue that invites a good break from the office environment, such as a fancy restaurant. Disadvantages of meeting. Although organizing meetings at work is essential in attaining a specific purpose and achieving goals, there are also disadvantages and drawbacks in meetings. A meeting would turn out to be ineffective if the organizer fails to properly facilitate the session and if the meeting agenda is not observed. Common problems with meetings is what common problems have encountered so far in meeting attendance. In a meeting, there is a possibility that participants go off in different directions at the same time, and this situation is called multi-headed animal syndrome. There is confusion between the meeting process and the content also happens. Participants are uncertain whether the focus is on how to discuss the agenda items or what key points to discuss. Some members experience traffic problem wherein they encounter difficulty in getting into the conversation and having a chance to participate. Personality control. The nice thing about a face-to-face meeting is that every member sees the person they are interacting with. However, the challenge is meeting problematic people. Not everyone is participative in meetings. Although this is ideally what we want to happen, conflicts will occur. Another disadvantage in a meeting is the possible existence of conflicts, and here we are talking about unnecessary conflicts. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. A meeting is a routine activity in an organization. It is even part of the weekly itinerary of many working individuals and business people. Decision-making meetings are conducted to generate or make a final and unanimous decision about an issue. Traditional meetings allow individuals to facilitate discussion and interaction in a face-to-face manner, allowing the participants to express their opinions freely with the help of non-verbal communication. A manager's meeting does not include subordinates and junior employees. The minute taker helps in the wrapping up of the meeting proper with the gathered notes from the participants' ideas. Attending meetings is a good chance for a person to practice good and open communication with others. Meetings are not necessarily one time unless the issue is trivial and agenda items do not require a follow-through.